The 23rd century is here today. And yes, I realize it's only the 21st century, but 23rd century style universal language translation is here right now today. Those of you who are fans of Star Trek, as certainly I was in my youth, remember vividly the universal translator. The people on Star Trek could talk to anyone in any language at any time. There was just a universal translator. The technology had evolved to the point where it could take any language and translate it into English or to any other language. That's here today, right now. And it's not just for giant corporations like Netflix. Now, in the last couple of years, we've seen a show like Squid Games, which was filmed in Korean, be translated in a pretty well, frankly, in dozens of languages. I know I enjoyed watching Squid Games in English, but this had the power and the backing of the $250 billion Netflix behind it. What does that matter to someone like you, me, an individual trainer, speaker, author, expert, consultant? Well, what's relevant is the technology is now filtered down in a way that's accessible to you and me through consumer platforms. We're going to test that right here today. Hi, I'm TJ Walker. This is the TJ Walker Success Show. It's all about helping you communicate more effectively and more confidently in everything you do so you can be more successful. I've been, you could say, fixated. I'm going to raise my camera just a little bit here. Okay. I've been fixated lately on the fact that Delphi.ai, a platform I use, has allowed me to make a digital clone of myself. In fact, 5 different versions of myself to speak to clients, customers, prospects, students, other people in the industry. What's happened now, and it may have been around for a few weeks or even longer, but I've just discovered it, is I can ask a question of my clone in virtually any language, and it will respond back in that language. Now, I only speak English, and I speak, sure, a couple of words of Spanish and French and a few other languages, but nothing even approximating fluency in any language other than English. Why is this so significant? It's because, yes, there are people in the world who speak 8 languages and are really good at languages, but nobody speaks 100 languages that I'm aware of. It's too hard. And yet now, through the power of artificial intelligence, it can be done. Why is this so significant? Why am I excited about it? Because instantly I can now communicate with 8 billion people, or at least the 8 of the 8 billion people who have internet connections. They can talk to me in their language. Are there some obscure tribes in South America where the language has not been captured in text? Sure. I'm not saying everyone, but as far as I can tell, about 99% of the world, the language is now available for international translation using artificial intelligence, and as it is filtered down to consumer platforms like the one I'm on. This is exciting. This is groundbreaking. Here's the significance of it. And I say this, it's going to sound a little arrogant of me. I apologize. I'm trying to talk about this from the standpoint of humility. I have benefited my whole career simply by the fact that I'm an American who speaks English, an American male, an American white male who speaks English. And a lot of people around the world are used to seeing that from TV shows and movies. So they were comfortable hiring me. And the fact that the United States is a huge, huge market. And if you speak English like a native, you automatically have access to a huge market. That's benefited me. Doesn't mean I'm better. In many cases, it means I'm worse. I never bothered to learn other languages. Whereas I personally know people who are in my same industry, but happen to be born in Slovenia or Slovakia or Estonia or Malaysia. They live in countries, oftentimes smaller countries. English was not their first language. And it just made it virtually impossible for them to communicate effectively with the English speaking audience around the world and the United States and that large market. B, with other people around the world who are used to doing business in English, but are looking for someone who sounds like a native English speaker. And through no fault of their own, it's just made it really difficult for them to do business or to ever grow and expand beyond a base of their own country. That's changing, my friends. It really is, because now we're at the point where if you are an expert, if you have expertise, regardless of what your core language is, you can now share that expertise with virtually anyone in the world in their language. This is the 23rd century. Now, it's not yet, and this is changing day to day and even hour by hour on my own clone. It's not yet to the point where you can speak to my clone in any language and my clone will answer you by speaking, by hearing my voice in any language. But it's working sometimes. It is working. Sometimes it's been working in Spanish. Sometimes it's been working in Mandarin. I am led to believe that in a very short time, it's going to get to the point where it will speak to anyone in their language. Now we're removing all barriers. Why is this so important? Again, it's because so many people with great talents in the world have been limited because their first language is a language that not many people speak. I happen to be lucky, and I just through no positive thing I ever did, I happen to be born in a culture where the language I was taught from the day I was born happened to be a very popular language for people who do business and buy goods and services, English. It was sheer luck on my part. Well, not everybody, in fact, by definition, most people in the world were not born with that luck. Guess what? My lucky days are people like me who just happen to be born in the US or an English-speaking company. That's going to be gone. That advantage is going to be completely gone in the next few years, the next few months, maybe even in the next few weeks or days. That advantage is going to be completely gone because anyone who has good ideas anywhere in the world is going to see the ability to share their ideas with other people where language is no longer the problem. Now, let me stick my neck out a little and make some predictions. Typically, anytime there's a new technology around, the people who are already established big shots are not the ones who benefit the most. Things are going so well for them. Why rock the boat? Why cannibalize your existing business? Famously, Kodak company developed and created digital photography. And they said, well, we don't want to mess with that. We don't want to bother with that. That could mess up our film sales. And they went bankrupt and became an irrelevant company because of it. New upstarts like Instagram, young people who started from nothing, they're the ones who created billions of dollars of value. I think we're going to see the same thing in industry after industry after industry when it comes to this ability to have digital clones and websites and everything else communicate in every single language simultaneously. So here's the situation right now when it comes to my field, for example, personal development, communication skills. You have industry leaders like Anthony Robbins. And Anthony Robbins has been someone who's always done very well with technology. He was really the first to really embrace infomercials. So I do not in any way mean to suggest I think Anthony Robbins is anti-technology. But Anthony Robbins has a pretty full schedule. He's busy. He's off, giving speeches for $500,000 a speech, and he's showing up at conferences where there's 10,000 adoring fans who've paid millions of dollars to be there. So it's hard quite often for someone in a business that's so successful to spend the time it takes to really learn a new technology and adapt. There are also millions if not tens or hundreds of millions of people around the world who are authors, experts, subject matter experts, speakers, trainers, consultants, who could take advantage of this universal translation technology right now and are just afraid they're saving every penny and don't want to invest even $10 or an hour a week of time to do it. They say, I'm going to wait, see if this thing is real. Both of these parties are going to miss out. There is opportunity now for people who are not so established that their calendar is full of making $1 million speeches 3 times a week, and people who are just trying to save every penny to keep their internet on. There's room for people in between to really flourish and dominate and get better and do well in this. So I'm going to take a moment and sort of demonstrate what I'm talking about if you haven't seen this before. So I have my own clone. It's on the platform of Delphi.ai. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up here in a minute. And it's just the way it sounds, Delphi, DELPHI .ai. I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to share my screen in just a moment with you. And we will do a little test on languages. By the way, I'm so excited about it. It just occurred to me, I didn't put any of the lights on in my set today. So sorry about that. We'll get that in the next hour or so. We'll try to spruce things up a little. So I'm going to share my screen. Hitting share, I'm hitting the audio on, sharing screen, sharing audio again. And now you'll be able to see my screen. Okay. So here's what I'm doing. I'm going to go into my clone. For the purposes of demonstration, I'm going to go into my clone that is specific to helping people about communication skills. As of right now, I've set up 5 different versions of myself, of my own brain. One that's just for support and information. People come to my website. One, this is brand new. It's designed just to be a job interview coach. You may say, I don't ever want to give a speech, a presentation, or PowerPoint, but I've got to do a job interview next week, and I want to rehearse. And I don't want to bother my friends. I don't want to bother my family. And it's too embarrassing. Okay, you don't have to. You can just use my clone for that. So we'll talk about that later. There's my life coach clone that deals with every one of my personal development courses, my media training coach, and the communication skills one. So we're going to look at the communication skills one. And we are going to focus right now on being able to ask it text-based questions. So I'm going to do another share with you. We're going to do a test here. If you have a suggestion on what language you'd like me to test, go ahead and post it in the comments. You can join me on screen on StreamYard, but we're going to do a test. So I'm just going to say translate English to Mandarin. Okay. So I'm going to type in I am a nervous speaker. How can I be more confident when I give presentations? So now it's given me, this is Google. So this is not what the part I'm talking about. I'm just doing this for test purposes. I'm now going to copy that statement in Mandarin. Now I'm going to ask myself that question. I say myself, I'm going to ask my digital clone this question. Let's see if it just says, I don't know what you're talking about, or print English, or what is it actually going to say? We're going to find out right now. It's taking a few minutes, not minutes, it's taking a few moments. Typically, it gives an answer in 10 seconds. And there we have it. So I'm not fluent in Mandarin. As far as I know, this could be complete gibberish. But there's one way of testing. Let's copy this and translate it back into English. So if it is complete gibberish, it should be apparent. So let me copy that. Now, what I think this is, again, at this moment, I don't think this is a way of having it speak to me, but we will test that part as well. Yeah, so it's not speaking yet, but now let's go in and translate Chinese to English. So I'm going to enter this. Let's see what it says. I'll enlarge this so you can see it. You don't need to see me. The key to being more confident in your presentation is preparation and practice. First of all, video exercises are a very effective method. Record your speech on your phone and watch the recording to find out what you need to improve. Keep adjusting until you're happy with your performance. Second, use cue cards. Prepare some cue cards with key points and outlines written on them. That way, even if you forget what you want to say, you can quickly check the cue card and continue your speech. Third, relaxation techniques. Take deep breathing and relaxation exercises before your presentation to help calm yourself down. You can try meditation or deep breathing to reduce tension. Fourth, positive auto-suggestion. Present before the presentation, tell yourself, I can do it, I'm prepared, and I'll succeed. These positive self-suggestions can help you build self-confidence. Finally, practice impromptu speech. Practice impromptu speaking to develop the ability to speak fluently even when you are not prepared. This can improve your resilience and self-confidence. Try these methods and see how they work. You can start with video exercises and gradually add other techniques. Which method do you think is best for you? Together, we can simulate a presentation scenario to help you improve further. What specific aspect do you feel most nervous about when you speak? We can practice and improve in these areas. So, all in all, I would say that's a pretty good answer. It's not 100% exactly the way I would give an answer. It's not that I never suggest auto suggestions or relaxation techniques, but to me, that's far down the list of what's really important, in that you really should focus on the video. But it mentions video first. It comes back with practicing on video. And it was coherent. It made sense. It was logical. It was rational. It certainly wasn't gibberish. I certainly don't get the sense that things were lost in translation. So I'm very happy with that. And frankly, I'm flabbergasted that it does it that well instantly. Because the old way is, maybe I could have gotten a question and then I'd have to cut and paste it, go to Google Translate. Time before that, I would have to hire a translator. And now it's, if not instant, it took about 10 seconds. To me, that is profoundly, profoundly significant. Let's do a test now and just see how different that is in the Chinese version versus me simply asking the question in English. So let's do a test right now. I'm going to ask the same questions, but this time I'm going to speak to my clone. It's only going to answer in English, though. And it takes a couple of seconds sometimes.
Hi, I'm TJ's clone. How may I help you communicate more effectively?
TJ, I'm very nervous about speaking. How can I become more confident before giving presentations?
The best way to reduce your nerves is to know you have something interesting to say. Rehearse your presentation on video until you can watch it and think, wow, that person is incredibly interesting. This will build your confidence. Now, why not record a short presentation on a topic you're passionate about and watch it? Let me know how it goes.
Okay, so that was a very different answer than what it gave the question in Mandarin in the text version. Now, my understanding is the programming on this particular platform, Delphi, tries to make the spoken stuff a little bit shorter. I'm going to go back and take a look at the settings, and because I just can't remember if the setting is such that it's supposed to give. Okay, response answer is a little bit on the short side. I'm going to go ahead all the way up to the. I've just changed the length of the answer to be 600 words. I'm going to ask the very same question. Let's see what we get, because it certainly gave, I believe, more than 440 words in the text answer. Let's go ahead and ask this question again and see if there's much of a difference. See which one you like. I actually like that answer because it's getting people to do one thing. What I'm trying to do with these clones is to simulate an actual coaching experience, not a lecture course experience. Coaches typically ask you to focus on one thing at a time and do it, measure it in real time, and then we go to the next thing. So I actually like the fact that it gave a short answer and followed up with asking me to do one thing. But let's see how it does now that I've adjusted the answers to go longer. Let's take a look at it, or let's listen to it and see what we think.
The best way to reduce your nerves is to know you have something interesting to say. Rehearse your presentation on video until you can watch it and think, wow, that person is incredibly interesting. This will build your confidence. Now, why not record a short presentation on a topic you're passionate about and watch it? Let me know how it goes.
You know, I forgot
What
to
is
ask the
your
question. I'm
ultimate?
not really sure why it did that. Let's try that again.
All right, let's give it
Hi,
another
I'm
shot.
TJ's
What's your
clone.
question? How may I help you communicate more effectively?
I had two open at the same time. That was it. Let me. So it was hearing me from two different levels. Let's try it again.
Hi, I'm TJ's clone. How may I help you communicate more effectively?
TJ, I'm a very nervous speaker. How can I gain more confidence before giving presentations?
The best way to gain confidence is to ensure you have something interesting to say. Practice your presentation on video until you can watch it and think, wow, that speaker is engaging. This will transform your nerves into confidence. What specific part of your presentation makes you most nervous, and would you like to practice it with me?
Okay, now interesting. It didn't actually lengthen the response. That was pretty much the same thing as before. So I believe what's happened with the overall settings of the platform is they want the spoken part to be relatively brief. Again, I'm not bothered by that because I'm trying to have my whole coaching, my whole clone experience be closer to a coaching experience where it's interactive and it's not someone just sort of sitting back and listening to me. So I'm not unhappy with that, although I would like the ability. I didn't hit save. We have to hit save. So that was not a fair test. It was still operating under the old assumption. So we're gonna try that one more time. And folks, I realize this is not riveting Mr. B style YouTube video.
Hi, I'm TJ's clone. How may I help you communicate more effectively?
TJ, I am a nervous speaker. I would like to be more confident when I give presentations. Can you help me?
Absolutely, I can help you become a more confident speaker. Confidence in presentations is something you can build with practice and the right techniques. Let's start with a simple but powerful tip. Practice recording yourself on video. When you watch yourself, you become more comfortable with your own voice and presence. This is crucial because familiarity breeds confidence. Next, focus on your message. When you're passionate about what you're saying, it becomes easier to convey that enthusiasm to your audience. Preparation is your best friend. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become. Another powerful technique is to engage in conversations with friends or family about topics you're interested in. This builds your confidence in a low-pressure environment. Also, consider joining a group like Toastmasters, where you can practice public speaking in a supportive setting. Finally, visualize success. Picture yourself speaking confidently and receiving positive feedback. This mental rehearsal can significantly boost your confidence. What specific aspect of public speaking do you find most challenging, and how would you like me to help you overcome it?
Okay, that time a much longer, sort of richer response. So I think I'm going to go back and adjust my settings to make it shorter. And so I'm going to go back and make it on the shorter side, 227 words, a little over a minute. And that way, the whole experience, but this time I have to hit save. That's what I forgot to do before. So let's try a different language. Let's try English to, I've got a speech coming up to a group based in Turkey, I believe just next week. It would be nice to start off my speech, at least with my clone talking to them in Turkish. So let's see if it can do that, or at least give the text version. I'm hoping by next week it can give it to me in an audio format, or ideally even a video format. So I'm going to give it the same test. I am a nervous speaker. How can I become more confident when giving presentations? So this is, again, I'm not fluent in Turkish, so I don't really know. I am going to copy that. Now we're going to go to my clone. We're going to go to the text version of my clone and see what it actually has to say, if it can answer this question. Now that's interesting. I don't know if I copied the wrong thing. Let's see. I'm hitting copy, and that is in the Romanic alphabet. But when I posted it, it gave what appears to be, to my eye, a Chinese thing. So let me start over and make sure I didn't do something wrong there. So I'm not quite sure why it would post it. Okay, there we go. I don't know what I did before. All right, so I'm hitting the button asking my clone to answer this question in the Turkish language. Oh, I think what happened is it simply pulled up a previous test. I think that's, in fact, what happened. Okay, let's take a look. All right, so it is now given an answer. And this is a relatively short answer because I did shorten the length. Let's copy it. Let's now go back to our Google translation. And whether it's my computer, the web page, or the internet, things slow down. Let's translate from Turkish to English now. Now I'm going to paste the answer my clone gave. So because this is not because of my clone, this is because of Google Translate. It's only giving the first 500 characters. It says nervousness is a natural state that many speakers experience. However, there are ways to overcome this tension. Let me go ahead and enlarge this for you. Overcome this tension and become more confident. Here's a tip you can apply right away. Calm yourself down by breathing deeply before giving a presentation. Deep breathing relieves tension in your body and focuses your mind. I'll tell you right now, I hate that as a first tip. I don't mind giving that as the ninth or 10th or 11th tip, but I can't stand that. So I don't know exactly why, when it's translating the Turkish into English, searching my database of answers, it came up with that. It continues. Another important point is to practice by videotaping your presentation. Monitoring and evaluating your own performance helps you see where you need to improve. This, and then it cuts off, but I believe that's simply because of the character limitation from Google. So I'm going to give that a sort of a mixed result. I'm not 100% happy with that because to me, to go into the whole deep breathing meditation stuff is very tangential. If you want to be confident as a speaker, the thing I always stress is the number one way of being confident is to have seen yourself on video giving a speech where you're thinking, wow, that person's pretty interesting. I would like to watch that person. That person saying interesting, memorable things. The only way to do that is practicing on video till you get there. So that is something I have emphasized again and again and again in my books, in my online training courses, in my YouTube videos. So I'm not completely happy with the information it gave in Turkish. But let's be careful not to make the perfect the enemy of the good. It's still a good response. There's no bad if someone followed that advice, they wouldn't be harmed. I would prefer they take the second tip about practicing on video first and the deep breathing and all that much further on. But it's not advice that's going to really hurt anyone. It's not advice like start off practicing with a whole bunch of marbles in your mouth. And if you can speak clearly with marbles, then you'll be. That's really not very worthwhile advice, although people do give it from time to time. So I'm giving that one more of a C plus B minus response as far as how it's actually handling that translation. So here's what I'm really excited about. And we can do a little test here right now, is when you can speak to my clone or your clone or any clone in any language, and it then speak back to you. That's what I think is exciting. What I've noticed with my own digital clone is it's kind of trying to do it. It's kind of adjusting. It's not right there. Now, I'm not the technologist. I'm not the computer science PhD, the artificial intelligence PhD, the Python expert. So I don't know everything that's going on behind the scenes at Delphi.ai, the platform that's hosting my own clone. But let's just do a little test. And I'm going to attempt to speak Spanish. Now, I have, embarrassingly enough, studied Spanish for 4 years in junior high school and high school, and am not particularly good at it. Shame on me. But I'm going to try to talk in Spanish, and let's give it a fair test again. I am a nervous speaker. How can I have more confidence when giving presentations? So we're going to stick to the same thing. And I'm going to, apologies for those of you who are native Spanish speakers, I'm going to attempt to pronounce this in the Spanish version to my clone, and we'll see how it actually sounds. So let me pull up the clone. We're going to go to the audio version of it and see how it does.
Hi, I'm TJ's clone. How may I help you communicate more effectively?
Soy un orador nervioso. ¿Cómo puedo tener más confianza a la hora de hacer presentaciones?
No need to apologize. Let's focus on turning that nervousness into confidence. One simple tip, practice
Problema,
your speech multiple
señor,
times in front of a mirror. This will
señor,
help you
un
get
momento, por
comfortable
favor.
with your delivery.
Un momento, por favor. En español solamente. Soy un orador nervioso. ¿Cómo puedo tener más confianza a la hora de hacer presentaciones?
Entiendo que te sientas nervioso al hablar en público. Un truco simple es practicar tu discurso en voz alta varias veces. Esto te ayudará a ganar confianza. ¿Podrías intentar practicar frente a un espejo y contarme cómo te sientes después?
Señor, en español, habla un todos nadie yo público hablas.
Entiendo que te sientes nervioso al hablar en público. Una técnica efectiva es practicar tu discurso en voz alta varias veces. Esto te ayudará a sentirte más cómodo y seguro. ¿Te gustaría hacer una práctica rápida conmigo ahora?
Okay, so what happened there has happened to me before, where I started speaking in a foreign language to my clone. It didn't understand it, spoke in English. I then asked a follow-up question or two in that foreign language, and then it started speaking in that language. And so this is evolving. Let's do a test here. I don't know if you can go back and forth. TJ, I want you to tell me everything you know about speaking to the media, but I want you to do it in español. ¿Comprende?
Speaking to the media is about preparation, clarity, and confidence. You must know your key messages inside out.
Okay.
Practice
So-
delivering them concisely. Always
So it's not apparently able to be given an instruction to speak in a language. But if you speak in a certain language, especially if you do a follow-up question, it then starts to speak it. And apologies, those of you who know a lot about language are offended by my egregious mangling of other languages. I'm going to try to speak a little French. Now, I should know more. I did spend all of June last year in Paris, but I didn't learn much language. Shame on me. But let's see if by speaking French, we can get the clone to speak in French.
Hi, I'm TJ's clone. How may I help you communicate more effectively?
Bonjour, monsieur. Comment allez-vous?
You are a big winner with an extraordinary mind, capable of learning, growing, and solving any problem you encounter. Believe in your limitless potential and
monsieur,
take consistent steps.
Monsieur, in français. In français. Bonjour, monsieur. Comment allez-vous?
It sounds like you have something on your mind about France. Is there a specific communication challenge or goal related to France that you'd like to discuss? Let's dive into it and see how we can enhance your.
Okay, so that one I think may be just the fact that I don't speak French well enough to discern that. So, folks, this is a big deal. For you to have some expertise in your mind and be able to share it with anyone in the world at any time, with them writing a question to you, texting a question, typing a question, dictating a question, and you're able to transfer your knowledge to help them is a big deal. And it's here right now today. Now, that wasn't a good demonstration because that was in the audio format. But folks, this is coming really quickly. The people who adapt to it, play with it, test it, some of them are going to be big, big winners. I'm not predicting I'm necessarily going to be a big winner. I am predicting that the people who really embrace this and try to figure out how to use it effectively to help the most number of people are going to be big winners. And I want to at least be a part of that journey. Thanks so much for joining. We have to take a quick break because we are going to switch over to our live show for our Udemy students, our online students. That is exclusive to our Facebook page. But I'll be back here talking about these issues in more detail at 10:45 a.m. Eastern Time today, which is in 1 hour and 4 minutes. See you then.